All right, hello, well, welcome. Sorry for our tardiness getting started here. This is the nature of virtual events, so we really appreciate you and your patience. So this is our pitch presentation session. This is one of our most popular sessions of the Tech Forum every year, hands down. So we're so excited that you can join us. We have a lineup of 6 amazing companies who have incredible technologies. I was fortunate enough to work with them in their preparations for this presentation and sit in on their dress rehearsals. And it's just so exciting to hear all about their technologies. Before we begin, I just want to take a moment to let you know what all of these pitch presenters did to get here today. So all of our pitch presenters submitted applications. It was a competitive process. They were down selected through a rigorous screening process and invited to participate. And what they've been doing while we've been all thinking about this event, they've been behind the scenes getting prepped and getting ready to make their presentations. And so what that means is some of them have been working with mentors, they've been working with their strategic partners, and putting together a 6-minute pitch. I actually love the 6-minute presentation, depending on who you talk to. It could be, that might be a lot of time, or it might just be a little time. But 6 minutes is really just a great way to get an introduction to what the technology is, what the partnering opportunity is, and go to next steps. So we will do a few Q&A. So if you have questions for a specific company as they're giving a presentation, please type it into the chat box. That is how we're going to be able to call on your questions. And we'll probably have time for a few questions for each company, and then we'll move on to our next presenter. So again, if you have questions for a specific company, we're going to try to field as many of those as we can during this time. However, we're going to get through these quick pitches in fairly rapid succession. So we appreciate that. The other thing that I'll remind you of is that all of these pitch presenters are available to speak with and schedule one-on-one meetings. So I do encourage you to please reach out to them, schedule a one-on-one meeting. Obviously, these are designed just to be a teaser, get you introduced to these companies, and then I encourage you to reach out and schedule those one-on-one meetings. And one-on-one meetings are available even after the event. So if you don't get a chance to connect with them over the 2 days, don't worry, you'll have until the 15th to schedule meetings and have those meetings all through this event platform. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started with our very first presenter. So our first presenter today is Notos Technologies. They're actually from Montreal, Quebec. Their technology name is Notos Software, and I'll just read you a very brief description because they're going to tell you a whole lot more. Notos Technologies has created innovative software that uses AI in order to enable fixed-wing drones to power missions through autonomously harvested wind energy. This software is available to exploit wind energy in any environment and can be implemented on any fixed-wing drone equipped with an autopilot system. Our presenter today is Alexandre Borowczyk, and he's going to have to tell you how to pronounce his last name. I apologize for that. He is the co-founder and chief technology officer. So welcome, Alexandre. Going to have you come up on screen here and share your presentation.
Hello, everybody. Very happy to be with you. So my name, as mentioned, is Alexandre Borowczyk, co-founder and CTO at Notos Technology. At Notos Technology, what we have done is we have created a unique flight management system that allows to power drones by navigating wind current, saving fuel, increasing their flight time, and reducing their impact on the environment. This solves one of the biggest issues that drone operators live today with, which is limited flight capabilities of drones. This is something I personally witnessed when I was in Kenya a year ago, delivering training for the Red Cross Society on the use of drone for emergency response. They had amazing ideas for the use of drone in their country. They wanted to map the whole country to better understand where flooding is more prevalent. However, I had to tell them that this was just not possible with the technology today. So this is what gets me really excited about what we do at Notos Technology. So what we have, we have an AI-driven algorithm that allows the drone to autonomously forecast, detect, and exploit the energy in the atmosphere. We can do that in the mountains, over land, or at sea. So if you wanted to increase the flight time of your drone today, you had to turn either to old technologies, such as gas and jet fuels, which are polluting, create a lot of noise, weigh a lot, so reducing the amount of payload you can carry, as well as the vibration affects the quality of the data you collect with your drones. You could also turn to new technologies, such as solar or hydrogen fuel cells. However, these are not ready yet. They don't deliver the increase in flight time that's going to make a difference in your business today. Additionally, you need to redesign or select a complete new platform for you, changing either your fleet or redesigning the fleet that you're currently flying, which may increase the cost of operation. However, with Notos Technology, we are a pure software solution that doesn't require any hardware modification onto your device, and we deliver substantial flight increase for your drone. So the benefits of flying Notos Technology are threefold. The first is that you have access to new data. Our algorithm measures fine and precise information of the atmosphere at a micro scale that is completely new and then can be delivered for meteorologists or windmill farm operators. Additionally, for UAV operators, you can reduce the cost of operation by saving fuel, reducing the wear on your batteries, reducing the requirements on spare batteries, as well as simply getting more out of the device you fly today. More flight time, more range, more service rendered. Finally, Notos Technology, by the substantial flight time increase and mission range increase, allows you to access new markets. So finally, with Notos Technology, you can say yes to your client that's asked you, is it possible to do that? Can you go that far? Can you make it happen? With Notos, you can. So how does the market look for us? We saw the drone market, increase at an exponential growth rate over the years. We expect it to reach about $63 billion by 2025. We expect most of this growth to happen in the behind line of sight category, more precisely in the air cargo delivery, drone air cargo delivery, which is the sector that we're very well suited to allow to increase and have a lot of benefit with Notos Technology. So the way we see approaching this market is twofold. The first is licensing our technology directly to OEMs and drone operator. And lastly is provide the data coming from our algorithm directly to data analysts. Getting Notos Technology onto your device is as simple as downloading the latest weather app for your iPhone. You go on our website, you enter which autopilot system you're using, and then you download the executive, and you're ready to go and enjoy an increased flight time for your device. So the whole team that makes it happen is at a rare crossroad of AI and aerospace. You have my co-founder, an expert in reinforcement learning. I have over 10 years of experience in aerospace. We have Alana that is critical at translating complex drone technology into something the world can appreciate. All of our technology is built on several years of research coming from Jacques at the Penn State University. And last but not least, we have the wisdom of Jacques, which has been building and designing remote piloted aircraft for over 40 years. So where we're at, we managed to raise already our seed funding round from Tandem Launch, a local accelerator here in Montreal. This money allowed us to demonstrate our technology in the field, demonstrating over 10x in flight time increase this summer. So this leads us to be looking for beta integration partners who wants to see what the wins can do for their business. Additionally, we're about to raise our Series A financing round and looking for strategic investors that want to take this journey with us. So I would like to thank you for listening. And as I mentioned, I'm available for any question. Don't hesitate to reach out and, you know, ask me questions.
Thank you, Alexandre. That was great.
Hand raised.
It's a wonderful presentation. Thank you. So I'll ask the audience if you have any questions for Alexandre, please raise your hand. We have one from Robert Hurd. So Robert, you're unmuted. You can go ahead and ask your question. Nope. Robert, looks like you're still muted. You'll have to unmute yourself if you want to ask.
Forgive me. Okay. Give us one example of a customer you might target in the United States.
Right. So what we are looking at, thank you for your question, Robert, is one of the first market that we're looking at right now is wildfire response. As you may know, wildfires generate a lot of heat, which means that our drones can fly for as long as they're needed. And basically, we're looking right now, you know, at the Western United States to see how we can use Notos technology to better help first responders for wildfires.
Thank you, Alexandre. Any other questions for Alexandre today? You can either raise your hand. Oh, looks like we have another question from Michael Thomas.
So Alexandre, your software and flightware operations, you look to adapt this to a hostile thermal environment. Can you adapt that to an environment below treetop level, where there are crosswinds, thermal updrafts, and cross currents?
Hi, Michael. Thanks for your question. Yes, in fact, we are looking really to exploit any type of environment. So thermals are only one of the wind phenomenon that we exploit. And as doing wind shoring, we are really well equipped at flying very close to the terrain and exploit, you know, even very micro, wind phenomenons.
Thank you. Then on behalf of Encanium Corporation, Encanium Initiative Corporation, we'd like to talk to you further.
Oh, great. I'll be glad to discuss.
Thank you.
All right, great. All right, we have one more question from Craig Bender. So Craig, go ahead and then we'll get on to our next presentation.
Sure, really good presentation. I appreciate your time. Where are you guys currently located? And then would you guys be interested in moving closer to other UAS activities?
Hi, Garrett. Right now we are in Montreal and Quebec, Canada, so eastern side of Canada. And yeah, we are very, we are very ready to make, make what we need to be able to connect with the market and see where this can lead us.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for those in the audience with the questions. Alexandre, great presentation. So we're going to move on to our next presenter today. And if any of you, again, would like to connect with any of our pitch presenters today, please reach out to them. You can schedule one-on-one meetings. Just go to attendees, find Alexandre or any of the speakers that you've seen today that you'd like to connect with, and you can meet with them. All right. So next up, we have iView Robotics. They are from Alpharetta, Georgia. Their technology is a standardized plug-and-play modular SUAS platform. iView Robotics plug-and-play modulator SUAS platform is a standardized drone platform designed to allow convenient plug-and-play modularity so users can change the sensor and cargo payloads needed for each drone service mission. Their presenter today is Jacob Andrews. He's the Chief Executive Officer and founder. It's a very exciting technology, and we look forward to your presentation. So Jacob, whenever you're ready, take it away, and then we'll answer, we'll have some time for some Q&A.
Perfect. So as Amanda just introduced me, my name is Jacob Andrews. The company I'm going to be talking about today is iView Robotics, and specifically one of the products that we're working on in our robotics company. Although we do have many other products and many other lines of business, I think this is the one that's most exciting and most relevant to today's conference. So without further ado, again, I'm here to talk to you about what we're calling the modular future of mobile and flight. And the problem that we're experiencing with today's drones are their limited feature sets. If you see any of the drones on screen, they all have some of the same underlying problems. You buy that drone and you can't really upgrade it. So like take, for example, a DJI Phantom. You buy that with the standard camera, and when there's a new camera that comes out, you have to buy a whole new drone. Additionally, with any of the other drones that you see on screen, they're pretty limited in the types of payloads, sensors, processors, and any other sort of cargo that you would want to carry on board a drone. Well, our solution is quite a bit different from that. We think modules are the new apps. And to show you that firsthand, I have our prototype OmniBot Air. And again, we're taking the approach of building a flying computer instead of a traditional flying camera like many of the other drones out there on the market. So again, what makes ours unique is with a form factor like this, what we're calling a module, we think they're the new apps, like the smartphone equivalent to the drone world. So if you want to use an analogy like that to understand it a little bit better, essentially you're able to give your phone, your smartphone, a lot more capabilities than what it ships from the manufacturer with by installing an app, giving your phone additional capabilities. With ours, we have these modules that we both develop in-house and are already partnering with other third-party developers, both at the research level and at the corporation, company, enterprise level. And we think taking that same approach that the smartphone uses, we can reach a much wider market than if we were to just build and develop drones for one specific industry. So we're essentially allowing you to upgrade your drone over time with modules, be able to use your drone for multiple different mission types instead of just having a mission specific drone like most, if not all others on the market. Here are some of the customers that we're working with and we'll like to work with more. So at the research level, we're looking to partner with more educators, students, and researchers in the unmanned aircraft system space, specifically Kansas State at the Polytechnic campus. We'd love to be able to partner with you and be able to showcase our capabilities for beyond visual line of sight operations. And part of that initiative would really to be able to drive home the fact that we're a US made drone, and we want to be the first US made drone that you can go buy one of our drones off the shelf with a beyond visual line of sight module package and have blanket access to fly it across the United States in unregulated airspace. And kind of building on that approach, partnering with researchers and universities, there's a lot of public safety officials and service providers that are now adopting drones to really automate some of their daily arduous tasks that a computer can't really do because it's stationary, and typical drones aren't typically up to the task of being able to complete multiple mission types. So beyond just the service providers and researchers that would utilize drones and are currently utilizing drones, like any other technology, enthusiasts are the early adopters, and we think the same will be the case for us as well. So here are some examples of the modules that you can expect to see in our module market, again, kind of similar to an app store. So even though this drone that I have right here is only configured with standardized ballast modules for basically even center of gravity, we have different module types ranging from communications modules, processors, sensors, and even cargo modules. So you can really outfit this drone however you need or however the mission requires the drone to be capable to not just take photos and videos, but also use an LTE SIM card to be able to take those photos, send them real time to a back office location. using a processor to run an AI algorithm to detect damage on top of a roof, for instance. That's one of the companies that we're partnering with right now that's building out a module package for our platform to automate the roof inspection process. But that's just one of many examples where the power of a modular drone isn't just having one individual module giving you more capabilities. It's having multiple different modules coming together to give you capabilities that a drone wouldn't otherwise be able to have. And here's our model that we're working with. So there's a two-sided, like any coin really, it's two-sided. We have users and developers. On the user side, I've already talked about some of the great benefits. Besides it being made in the US, you're able to save time and money by being able to expand your drone's capabilities over time and not have to buy a new drone every time you want your drone to take on a new mission. You just buy a new module or equip it with a new module and you're set to go. And again, kind of using the smartphone analogy, the same way smartphone app developers can get into the phone industry without having to develop their own phone, we've gone through all the R&D and all the legwork of creating a modular drone that other developers can create modules using their own software, hardware, or any other payload without having to develop their own drone. And here's a look at the commercial small drone market. So as you can see, kind of like the computer industry, the drone industry just isn't one industry. It's an industry to help other industries. And part of that is surveying and mapping, inspection, surveillance. And if you were to build a drone for each of those specific industries, you couldn't really gain a mass market traction that you could with a drone that can be outfitted to the capabilities required by each of those industries. And besides some of the business development milestones that we've achieved, being able to partner with other companies, partner with customers that are now partaking in a paid beta program and bringing on board our first investor. We have been able to start from March of 2019 last year with our original concept for a modular drone and take that to where it is today, starting in January 20, where we had our first successful modular drone flight. This is the team that's been helping me. Andres Torres, he's our chief robotics officer. He's really been leading the development charge with a Navy and advanced electronics background. Bob Ivy, he's come on board to help me and the rest of our team out, really lead our programs and take these high-end technologies we're developing and structure them in a business way. And then Sean kind of bring that home, taking these managed projects and then turning them into commercialized products. And then some of the other team members that are also helping out are listed as well. And all I ask is for you to help me spread the word to researchers, universities, educators, public safety departments, service providers, and even other developers. We would love to partner with companies like GoPro, like Sony, other sensor developers that can really help us build out our module market to really make this, you know, kind of the first smart drone. And so we have betas and demos ongoing. We have dev kits and pre-orders available later this year, as well as our official product launch summer of 2021. So we can really hammer home our efforts towards the education industry going into their next fall semester. Again, my name is Jacob Andrews. My company is iView Robotics. And you just witnessed the unveiling of Omnibot Air, the first flying computer.
Thank you, Jacob. That was a great presentation. I was super excited when I saw your dress rehearsal and learned more about your technology. Very cool. So we'll take questions now. For those of you who maybe haven't asked a question, just go ahead and click that little raise button icon, raise hand icon. That'll indicate to us that you have a question, and then we can go ahead and ask Jacob that question. All right, so it looks like we have a couple questions. So first question we'll take is from Mark Houston.
I actually do not have my screen in front of me that I can actually view the question.
No problem. Mark's going to unmute himself and he's going to ask the question here shortly, so you should be able to hear him.
Hi, Jacob. This is Mark Houston. I'm just curious about your financing strategy. Are you looking for capital at this point? And if not, when do you anticipate you will be?
Did you hear the question, Jacob?
Kind of. I heard, are you looking for capital? So we actually just did bring in our first angel investor who's come on board as a partner. He also owns a software development company developing AI algorithms. One of those is to detect damage on roofs. So that's one of our partners that's been working with us to develop modules specific to different industries. But outside of that, we're definitely open to additional capital investment. We would love to be able to not just bring this product, but some supporting products to market. And right now with our current resources, we are just focusing on this product, but yes, we are open to other opportunities.
Thank you.
All right. Looks like we have another question from Ed Scotch. Go ahead, and Ed, you should be able to unmute yourself and ask your question. Nope.
I did not hear, oh, there we go.
Oh, Ed, do you have a question for Jacob? All right, well, we'll move on if Ed wants to raise his hand again. We've got a question from Frederick Runco. Go ahead, Frederick.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Jacob, have you approached any of the standard sensor manufacturers in the industry, FLIR, Velodyne, things like that?
No, we have not. I have approached GoPro. Right now, we're developing our own camera system using some off-the-shelf components. That way, we do have our own camera module to launch with, but there is no getting around the fact that we're not a sensor developer. So we would like to partner with other sensor developers. So any doors that could be open up for me there would be greatly appreciated.
All right, good. We'll talk later.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. We have another question from Kendall Hutchinson. Kendall, go ahead whenever you're ready. Still muted. We'll give Kendall, oh, there you go.
Hello. Can folks hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. Thank you, Jacob, for the presentation. I'm curious what value this product has for the consumer. You mentioned rather than buying a new drone, they would buy your modular. So how much money would that save an average consumer, and how often would they be a repeat customer?
Yeah, so that's one of the great things about our drone is having the ability to upgrade it over time. Kind of very similar to actually the gaming industry in this regard, is where a lot of the money isn't made off of the initial console itself. And if you think about our drone as a console, a lot of the money is made through like selling the accessories, selling the game. So we actually have a business model that, you know, supports us being able to grow and scale with selling our drone. But I think where the real long-term value is in the modules, being able to upgrade that drone over time. And that value isn't just for the customers, but us when customers want to buy a new upgraded camera, add a thermal sensor, be able to carry cargo, add a speaker or a microphone module. Then you could do that without having to buy or develop a custom drone. and we're already starting to see a lot of the value isn't actually coming from it being a modular drone. It's compared to other solutions out there, like specifically for the roofing industry. We have a lot of roofing companies interested in buying these because if they can just make a one-time purchase for all the hardware and the software required to automate the roof inspection process, as opposed to paying a subscription fee with some other software programs out there for getting roof measurements, for inspecting damage, then it's a matter of this being a more valuable solution, not just compared to other drones in the market, but other technology in the market, whether it's drone related or not. Does that answer your question? Or?
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll go ahead and take one more question. We'll take a question from Craig. So Craig, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Hey, Jacob, Craig Bender. I heard you say that you're interested in partnering with K-State Poly. Where are you currently out at?
We are based, we're based out of Alpharetta, Georgia. We are currently exploring a partnership with Middle Tennessee State University. That's actually the university I went to for their unmanned aircraft systems program. And I just know there's a lot of opportunity, especially with the great work that's being done at Kansas State Polytechnic. Again, we would love to get some of these drones as research platforms into the hands of the Kansas State students and educators, and be able to show them the capabilities of having a modular configurable research platform. So
okay, thank you, Jacob. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, Jacob, thank you so much. And again, if anyone wants to get in touch with Jacob, you can go find him in the attendee list and schedule one-on-one meetings with him all the way through the 15th. So over the next 2 days or even days after the event.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone.
All right. So our next presenter is Aerial Vehicle Automation, AVA Propulsion, Inc. They're out of San Antonio, Texas. Their technology is the AVA Winged X8, and it is an aerial vehicle automation, creates large fixed pitch multi-rotor drone platforms to autonomously carry payloads of 200 plus pounds with distances up to 300 miles. Applications include transport of parts and supplies to remote areas, military, and life-saving missions. These vertical takeoff aircraft require no road or runway and are 20 times cheaper than helicopters. So our presenter today with AVA Propulsion is David Gonzalez II. He is the co-founder and chief executive officer. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Amanda. Are you able to hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So yeah, we're Aerial Vehicle Automation. We're out of San Antonio, Texas, and we build very large vertical takeoff and landing drones that actually make 1,500 pounds of thrust. And so you make a lot more thrust than you need for your payload, so that you have lots of safety and performance margin. And we build both the key enabling hardware as well as software that helps enable these to fly. We've previously raised $500,000 in investment and future commitments upon technical milestones. And it's a very interesting new technology. So kind of go over a little bit what our product roadmap really looks like. So we actually build the core propulsion system. So everything that you need to generate thrust and basically spin big rotors. So we're very proud that we actually have a completely US-built electronic speed controller capable of running these big rotors. And each of these big rotors is actually able to make 188 pounds of thrust. So it's really, thrust-making, electric rotors that we build. We also build an all-electric platform called the X8, which is capable of running kind of shorter missions, kind of 30-minute flight times for carrying, large payloads, kind of shorter distances. And then the really exciting product that we're working on is called the Hybrid Winged X8, and it's a multi-rotor. that's built off of our X8 platform with a range over 300 miles, 5 hours of endurance, while carrying 200 pounds of cargo and fully loaded with fuel. So what we've really done is we've married the very large multi-rotor technology that we've built to technology really from the light sport aircraft world, which are these big kind of delta wings that you'll often see a human pilot flying with geese. We're kind of marrying these exciting VTOL technology with the wing technology. So problem and solution, and really the problem is that if you want to carry cargo to remote areas or by air, it's very, very expensive. So traditional helicopter, you're looking at 200 to 300 an hour direct operating costs. And that doesn't even include the fact that you also have to hire a pilot to go fly this thing. Traditional fixed wing, even a small one, like even a Cessna 172, you're looking at $128 an hour in operating costs. Now for us, with our AVA winged X8, our anticipated operating costs are actually under $10. And that's actually based on both data from big multi-rotors we've flown before, but also from performance data from, there's a gasoline engine that is used for pushing this thing once it's in the air. So it takes off like an elevator, like a regular multi-rotor, and then once we're in the air, we kind of point the nose into the wind direction, turn on the gasoline engine, and go fly. And so there's really potential here for a just dramatic cost reduction versus the way things are currently done. So kind of talk about our three primary types of customers that we're targeting. And one is really established cargo operators that are flying out to remote areas. Another one is really business logistics types of customers. And then the third, of course, is the Department of Defense. So that's kind of what you think of in terms of the Army, the Air Force, the Navy. The Air Force has actually just announced a new program called Agility Prime, which is a program specifically designed to develop basically large multi-rotor technology for the Department of Defense to support military and Air Force types of missions. And so a couple key statistics I want to just kind of read off for you, to kind of show how big some of these markets can be. Right now, 1 billion people in the world don't have access to all-season roads, so they have to transport by ground and or by air, and it's very expensive to do that, and sometimes prohibitive. The fiscal year 2019 DoD budget request actually was $9.39 billion in drone-related funding, and that was a 26% year-on-year increase from the 2018 budget request. And then, of course, United States business logistics costs actually reached $1.6 trillion in 2018, and that is roughly 8% of GDP. So you've always got to move big things around. I think it's a fundamental need that's not going anywhere, and I think we're in a good position to enable that. So a little bit of strategy. Initially we want to target kind of the lower risk types of operations when we're talking about the United States. So we see flights over uninhabited areas and over water. So hot-shotting cargo out to oil rigs and construction sites, as well as remote inspections. Also in parallel with that, we want to target overseas delivery markets where there's less regulation, areas that are very uninhabited and remote. And then longer term, we want to focus more traditional cargo markets, business logistics, cargo that you see where it's time critical and you're delivering business to business, things like FedEx, UPS, USPS, DHL, and even Amazon, where you would, instead of flying a single box to somebody's house, you would fly a whole pallet of boxes from the distribution center a few hundred miles out to, say, a neighborhood, and then you have a local carrier or last mile carrier actually go and take it to their door. So I think that makes a whole lot more sense. Talk a little bit of our team. So I'm co-founder and CEO. I have experience bringing a number of products to market. We also have Kyle Johnson, who's a UAV tuning expert. And what we originally did before we even found this company is we built, at the time, one of the largest multi-rotors in the world. It was a 4-rotor, quad rotor that we actually flew 200 pounds of weight out of ground effect, basically at a private test site, and really demonstrated that, hey, you could build these large propulsion systems, you could actually, characterize their thrust, you could tune them, you could make them fly with great stability. And in addition to that, we have a 50-person, network of basically engineers, research institution partners, all sorts of folks that we can bring in to basically enable all these different aspects of the technology that we're building. Our architecture, where we're kind of married these wings with multi-rotor in this particular way, is patent pending. We have our own proprietary large speed controller, which is really the core enabling technology for any large drone, and it's a US built speed controller. We have our own code running on many of these subsystems, as well as a supply chain with some redundancies in it that we've developed. And the key thing that I think that's different between us and traditional aerospace companies is we're taking a much more Henry Ford type approach. So usually when you want to build something that goes through the air, you have a very large mold that's built. It costs several $100,000, and you can really only get one part off of it if it's a composite mold every 24 to 48 hours. And so if you're building a helicopter, which is, if you're a helicopter company and you're building 40 to 100 a year, that's not a big deal to you. However, with this type of technology, where you're seeing a 10 times reduction in the cost versus the way things are traditionally done, 10 to 20 times depending on what we're talking about, then you really have to set this up in a way that's suited for mass production at low cost with very high reliability. So instead of building molds, we use flat panels that are just simply laser cut to a certain, to the certain geometry. We use a lot of aluminum tubing, and we have some other, we have carbon fiber types of pultruded tubing. So we build in ways that are very, very different, substantially cheaper, and much more suited to mass production. So kind of talk about what we're doing now. So we are, we had kind of started around and then paused due to the whole COVID financial crisis that we had been going through. So what we're now doing is we're raising $2 million in safe agreements to select accredited investors. We really want to kind of, interview potential investors, see where there's synergies, where they can help, and make sure that they have a good understanding both of hardware and software areas. And really I don't have time to go into it now, but we're really budgeting into 3 different categories for this, for this money. It's really, key hires, external work and parts costs, as well as operations, to really enable key pilot programs to start flying some cargo around using these, so we can gain some valuable flight time and start understanding, to a very high level of detail, what's actually needed to operate these on a very massive scale. So I invite everyone to engage with me and be happy to take any questions. I would love to hear what people are interested in. So thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Great presentation. All right, well, we've got a couple questions here, so we'll go ahead and take those. We'll take our first question from Frederic Runco.
Good morning, David. Good job. Very interested in your platform. We work on unmanned cargo all over the world, so we're being interested in meeting with you. What have you done so far for credentials with the FAA or other air regulatory agencies?
Yeah, so what we're really pursuing is a 333 exemption under Part 107, in particular for flight over over water and uninhabited areas. One thing in those applications is they kind of want you to freeze the design, and so we're still continuously in an improvement sort of mode right now, where we're looking to we're making all the little changes to make this thing really mass producible. So we haven't actually submitted for that yet. And that's why we actually think the lowest hanging fruit to enter the market is actually in some of these overseas areas. And really, we want to sell to established operators of companies that are already moving cargo around in those areas. And so we're actually talking to a few about that right now.
Okay, well, I sent you an invite, and we'd be happy to talk to you about that.
Great, sounds good.
All right. Well, David, our next question is from Robert. So Robert, what's your question for David today?
Yeah, David, it looked like from the picture that you have kind of an ultralight wing attached to your multi-rotor. Is that correct?
Right. So it's actually a light sport aircraft wing. However, the construction is with aluminum tubing, and it's a tension structure with an aerospace fabric. So what's cool about that is that you have the potential for very low cost, and you also have the potential to actually fold the whole wing up to fit in a small space. So instead of needing, let's say traditional hangar space, you can actually fit this whole thing in a garage. And so you have the ability to store more of these in a given area, which is really important, especially to the military. You know, the Navy on ships, for instance, when we talk to them, they really want to say, how small can you really condense this thing? But even in the commercial world as well, you want to have a small footprint. But yes, it's a light sport aircraft wing, and we've actually teamed up with a company here in the United States, actually the biggest company that makes those types of wings, to really enable this new lower cost platform.
So if you could just paint a picture of the classic customer for you in the cargo space, what does that look like?
Yeah, so initially, you know, when we're talking about, let's say, hot-shotting cargo to oil rigs, you know, it's companies like ERA. There's a number of companies that fly basically parts and supplies out to some of these areas that do hot-shotting. Overseas, it's companies like Zipline that are already flying smaller UAVs between, you know, kind of central distribution points and hospitals, for instance. They have a resupply need that currently is still done on the ground to the actual stations. So those are the types of companies that are established operators. If we're talking about cargo, like let's say, you know, FedEx, they use smaller companies to actually move their cargoes around that are purely logistic companies. They operate, you know, often Cessna C208s. So it'd be companies like Baron Aviation. So we're really targeting companies. They already have the customer, they already have the cargo to move around, and it just is a way for them to dramatically reduce their costs over how they're doing it now, and have a much more economically, you know, basically tasty opportunity, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Robert. Well, if you have any other questions for David, you can raise your hand. We can go ahead and take another question or two. Or if you think of any questions after the event or you'd like to connect with David, please go and visit our attendee list. You can find David and you can schedule a one-on-one meeting with him. David, it looks like we have one more question from Tom.
Sure.
So go ahead, Tom, whenever you're ready. What's your question?
Sure, and I apologize if this has been asked already, but David, has the aircraft been tested or flown in known icing conditions yet?
So no, we haven't flown in known icing conditions yet. So we've flown basically this technology demonstrator that you see here on the left. And what we've done since then is we've characterized that we're making enough thrust. We increased the thrust of our propulsion system and all that, but we have not flown in icing conditions yet. So.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much, David. Great presentation, and thank you for sharing your technology and your company with us today.
Thank you. I look forward to engaging more. So.
Likewise. All right. So we're going to bring up our next presenter. Hey, Carl. Welcome to the party.
Hello.
Our next presenter is Cylotronics. They're located in Madison, Wisconsin. Their technology is the OS3. You're really going to make me work for this one. Organosilicone electrolyte solvent. And what your technology is, it's a high-performance electrolyte co-solvent that improves overall system stability, particularly for silicone anode systems, by stopping salt and solvent decomposition. The OS3 stabilizes other parts of the electrolyte, for example, FEC, helping to minimize gas generation in anode systems. OS3 is currently used in production 100% SI anode Li-B system. The presenter today, I'm sure I butchered that, but you're going to tell us here in a little bit exactly what all of that means. So our presenter today is Carl.
Yeah, exactly.
And he is the VP of Global Business Development for Cylotronics. So thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda. So we're going to dive into how we provide better batteries for some of these amazing unmanned aerial vehicles that the other companies are talking about. So to introduce Cylotronics, we first have to talk about silicon chemistry. Now, silicon chemistry improves everything it's applied to without compromise. It's a big statement, so I've got a bunch of examples to hammer that home. In tires, you're getting more grip longer life and lower rolling resistance all at the same time. In adhesives, you're getting strength and flexibility combined. In cosmetic products, you're getting skin friendliness and robustness at the same time. And my favorite example is a penetrating lubricant it might as well be witchcraft. So Cylotronics is the only company in the world applying silicon chemistry to improve battery electrolyte. And in fact, our OS3 commercial solvent is the first new solvent to be introduced in the marketplace since FEC 15 years ago, back in 2005. So there's a gap for technology development here. And that's important because electric flight demands more everything out of energy storage. We need more energy density first and foremost, but that needs to come with improved cycle life, faster rates of charge, higher operating temperature windows, and at a lower price. Now that's happening today in the world of electric vehicles. We've got high volume, low cost battery cells that are meeting needs and showing incremental improvements. Now we need everything that those cells demonstrate, but with substantially higher energy density to support UAS application demands with the same reliability. Now, the reality in the marketplace is that there's very high capacity cobalt oxide cathode materials and very high capacity silicon anode materials, and they can be used together to meet the needs of drone requirements. However, they destroy bulk electrolyte, and that introduces a whole bunch of problems in terms of compromise. So to get the energy density, you're compromising cycle life or temperature window or cell swelling, for example. Now the market deals with that compromise through traditional electrolyte additives. Now these additives are combined to create an effective electrolyte cocktail, but the end result is that these additives are being used to address problems created by bulk electrolyte decomposition. Cylotronics, on the other hand, approaches this by stopping that bulk electrolyte decomposition in the first place. We are addressing the root cause. We're simplifying the electrolyte formulation and improving overall performance. And the results show. In batteries built by us or our customers or our development partners, we're able to stabilize extremely high capacity electrode combinations while improving the temperature stability, while improving the cycle life, while reducing the cell swelling, and we're not adding any cost. So we are taking design compromise off the table in terms of electrolyte stability. Cylotronics is operating as a company today with 17 people, and we've built a world-class battery material center of excellence in Madison, Wisconsin. We're doing molecular development and product development there, as well as supporting application testing and optimization for some of our development partners. Today, we deliver OS3 through a fully qualified, global, and chemically registered supply chain supported by contract manufacturing partners in our key sales geographies of North America, Europe, and Southeast Asia. On the sales and marketing front, pardon the eye chart. You don't need to focus on the detail here. It's only going to illustrate the point that the electrolyte additive market alone is $750 million today. And that's going to grow to $2.4 billion by 2030. The list that I'm showing here is all the companies that are actively engaged in developing silicon anode materials at the startup level. There's a lot of money, there's a lot of names, and there's a lot of competition here. Regardless which one of these companies end up being successful, we will be successful because all of these technologies require advanced electrolytes. They all need improvements at the electrolyte level, and those are exactly the improvements that we at Psylotronics are delivering. And that shows in our customer engagement. Today, we are actively engaged with the global lithium-ion supply chain from top to bottom. We're working closely with anode and cathode manufacturers, electrolyte formulators, cell manufacturers, and end-use OEMs. The names shown on the screen are some of our closest partners where we have deep collaborative development ongoing today. Financially, we're operating in a cash flow break-even position with revenue primarily supplied by government contract research. We have meaningful OS3 product revenue forecast to begin in 2022. Now that's already begun with some early adopters of OS3 who are gradually growing their volumes. Alternatively, we have the opportunity to license new molecules as well as perform contract research at our Battery Materials Center of Excellence. Again, both of these have ongoing customer engagement today. The investor opportunity that we are seeking is to perform a funded technology development with a strategic partner in this space. There's very slow technology adoption in lithium ion, and we can talk about it in detail later. Alternatively, we're seeking an angel investment round to support additional commercialization efforts, as well as achieving SBIR funding eligibility. And ultimately, the company is looking to exit to a strategic in either the battery materials or specialty chemicals space. And we have ongoing discussions with potential acquirers today. And so with that, I'll conclude the brief introduction to Cylotronics and look forward to any questions or additional engagement you may have for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate it. All right. So we'll field a few questions. We've got a few minutes for some questions. Again, you can go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question, and then we'll call on you. Looks like we have a question from Robert. So Robert, go ahead. Looks like he's muted. The dreaded mute.
Forgive me, there we go. Again. Carl, are you working with angel investors in Wisconsin?
We are. So we've raised, we've done prior raises, and there is a group in Madison that we've that is already an investor today.
Okay. And what would be an example of the strategic partner you're looking for?
You know, that's a good question. You know, we're engaged across the supply chain, and it's really somebody that either has the capability to manufacture cells or the size and scale to push a manufacturer to do what they are asking of them. Alternatively, we can actually do that in our facility in Madison, and the scale of a technology demonstration would be, you know, in $1 million or less range.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Looks like we have another question from Mark Houston. So Mark, what's your question?
Yeah, Carl, could you describe a little bit more about some of your existing government contracts that you have underway? And
yeah, sure.
Yep, what they look like. That would be great.
Yeah, we're doing a major one we have press releases out on is for the Office of Naval Research, and we're looking to improve energy density and safety at the same time. And so our OS3 material is a perfect candidate for that. They're targeting some very high energy density levels, and so we're using these really unstable electrode combinations and improving cell safety at the same time.
And then it looks like we had a question from Jim Troxel. If he wants to raise his hand again. Oh, there you are, Jim. All right.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
I can hear you, Jim.
Okay. Carl, what's your connection, if any, to the University of Wisconsin there at Madison?
Yeah, we are a spin out from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and our co-founders, Dr. Robert West, or Dr. Hamers is an active professor. Dr. West is a professor emeritus. Dr. West is the godfather of silicon chemistry. And so if you start to look at, you know, the past 50 years of silicon, his name comes up very frequently. And there's a lot of products in the world today that owe their existence to Dr. West.
Great. Well, we love a good university spin out.
Yep.
Any other questions for Carl? I understand we have some questions maybe in the chat box, but if anybody wants to raise their hand, we'll be able to take questions that way. And again, if you have any, if you want to contact with Carl or any of our other speakers today, please find him in our attendee list, and you can reach out, send him messages, schedule one-on-one meetings. Definitely encourage you to follow up with everyone that has presented here today. Well, thank you so much, Carl.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda. Appreciate it.
Likewise. Look forward to hearing about all the follow-ups from all of our presenters. We keep track and we check in from time to time. We always want to know if there was, an interaction that was helpful for them while they were here. If they were, a lot of cases, there's also, they get introduced